Except we're doing it back in NXT. But okay, just going back to the models for a second. I mean, if you really do look at some of these models, a lot of them are pretty bad.
It's just that they look like they're not quite finished. They'll probably be more refined when the next game comes out.
I mean, Big E's is a lot of people give Big E's a lot of crap. It's not perfect by any means, but I think it's definitely not Bella Twin tier.
I can see why some people would say, like, if you look at his face, like his eyes look like they're all bulging out and shit.
Yeah, I see that.
You see what I mean? Like about his eyes, they look like fucking weird.
Yeah, but they got everything else down pretty well.
Well, it's kind of hard to not get the body right. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't know. We are talking about Ukes. But I mean, at least you can tell it's Big E. He's not like Booker T from, what was it, last year's game? Or was that year before?
Both.
Both? Yeah. Booker T looked god awful.
Looked like a mutant.
Whoa, hey, whoa, hey, whoa, hey. I wish they would have given him like his Hall of Pain shirt to wear to the ring. Cause like that entrance looks better with that Hall of Pain t-shirt on. But I think honestly, next year for 2K15, they will need a new engine anyway because of next gen consoles. And then if the models look like crap, then you know that's just unexcusable.
2K. That's just 2K.
Because it looks like they're dropping everyone from the past games.
I mean, at the very least, if it's one thing this year because it's a transition year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of excusable. You know, you still got a lot of that leftover stuff from Ukes. But next year, if it's bad, then they have no excuse. It's entirely 2K.
I mean, if 2K like put in the amount of work that they put into like their NBA series, that'd probably be an amazing looking wrestling game, without a doubt. We know 2K didn't make the game, but they do have one of their teams working with Ukes. Like, they did say that. It's that Ukes did do most of the work, and Ukes, let's be honest, are pretty god-awful. Like, they're awful, man.
Which is weird, because it's only for the WWE games. If you look at the UFC games, those seem like they play just fine.
That's also Ukes?
Yeah.
Well, those don't come out every year, though, either.
That's true.
So they probably have time to actually work on it. Like, it still pisses me off that some of the glitches that were in last year's game are in this game. That is completely inexcusable.
Well, the UFC games that were made by THQ anyway, that was Ukes that made them. Ukes is honestly a pretty shitty company when it comes to making these games.
But let's talk about Big E, I guess, since this is now the Big E portion of this DLC. Big E's probably one of my favorite new guys that has bumped up to the main roster this year. Dave, you were a fan of him back on NXT.
Yeah, because his NXT face run was fucking phenomenal. Big E was booked right. He was an unbeatable monster. He was literally undefeated on NXT.
Until his last match, or?
Yep, until he lost the title.
So they gave Bo Dallas
Big E's first loss. Yes.
That's disgusting.
It is disgusting. But they booked him so well on NXT. Like, there was a point when the Shield was on NXT and Big E stood up to him, and you honestly believe that Big E could take all three of them.
That's awesome. And ironically enough, he was in like that mini feud with the Shield there for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
After it looked like he was gonna take away the United States Championship.
What's funny is Big E actually started as a heel, but he kind of just turned face because the crowd reacted so well to him. And it wasn't even like a face turn, it just kind of happened. Like, he became face by default.
Well, that's almost kind of like how at first, like, you know, Bo Dallas's heel run here lately.
But
Like,
it's actually kind of like Ryback, believe it or not. When Ryback debuted, he wasn't exactly a face. He was just kind of a monster who was squashing jobbers, and people just kind of took up to him, and they kind of just turned him face as a result.
that worked out so well for him that it had a turn of heel.
Yeah. But yeah.
So playing as Big E,
He seems like he would play as your typical big man.
that's exactly what he's doing. I'm not seeing any like unique moves or anything in his moveset whatsoever.
Well, during the initial streams before this game came out, they did say that DLC characters usually have an unfinished moveset.
Yeah, which also, it's like, come on now.
And
I would rather have the DLC be delayed and have them have a proper moveset.
they said that actually that's what happened with Antonio Cesaro and Damian Sandow, was that when they initially were released, their movesets weren't complete and they just kind of gave them whatever. Like, they didn't even attempt to give them a proper moveset except for their finishers and signatures.
You have to get, just like kind of what I'm probably going to end up doing, you have to get the actual movesets from Community Creations.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's time for the big ending.
Real signature is a fucking big back body drop?
Yeah, that doesn't seem right to me.
No. His belly to belly would be a signature, I would think.
And Big E goes over.
The big ending piece looks good.
Yeah, the big ending does look pretty good. They got that right.
Even though someone would argue the big ending is kind of a shitty finisher.
It's better than some of the other NXT finishers right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than a spinning heel kick.
Or a palm thrust.
Yeah. But I've even seen people who aren't exactly like internet wrestling marks, you know, question the logic of the big ending. Like, especially if you pull it off on a bigger guy like Henry, since Henry's basically falling on top of his arm, you would think that would hurt Langston more than anything else.
Yeah. But it looks appealing at the same time because it's different from what a lot of people have.
Mm-hmm.
So. Alright, so that's the actual. All the characters have been showcased now. So there's only one thing left to do. So up next, we're going to review this DLC pack and tell you guys if it's worth, presuming you don't have fan access, is it worth the $8 they're charging for it?
I'm going to tell you right now, no.